Welcome back to One Crack News. It's your boy Carcino here, and let's speak on it. Everyone's speaking about the coronavirus, and no, not the coronavirus from Crown Imports. The coronavirus is an outbreak that's happening in Asia, and everyone is afraid because it might spread to the United States, and they're having all these precautions in place. Well, you shouldn't have to worry about it. Now, here's the big problem. You're having a massive trouble with the fact that this is very peculiar. Every 100 years, there is a massive outbreak that wipes out thousands. I mean, thousands. Right? Think about it. Every 100 years. For the last, what, 400 years? So, you think about what happened in Europe in 1720. The Great Plague of Marseilles. The last of the significant European outbreaks of a bubonic plague. It was in France of 1720. Killed 100,000 people. 50,000 in the city during the next 2 years. And another 50,000 to the north of the province and towns. Yep, the 1720s. They didn't have a lot of the medicines back then to catch a lot of these things that could have probably been cured had they had some methylate or some mercurochrome back then. Could have like slowed down some of this infection. They had a quarantine system to try to be in place, and that didn't work. But when they reviewed like all the captain's log they recorded from every city and ship handed in, the sanitation boards and cities throughout had the rumors of a recent plague incident. The delegation expected the cargo, the crew, the passengers, looking for signs of the possible disease. If the team saw a sign of a disease, the ship was not allowed to land on the dock. So the ship had to pass tests before it's able to come in there, where there was things like ventilation and things of that nature, right? So, what? 1820, massive, massive disease in Asia. What was that? 1820. They had the trying to think what was the name of the disease that they had in that time? Because I know it was Asia. I think it was some type of pandemic outbreak that they had there. It's always in these other countries. That's where it's massive. I think it was like yellow fever or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. That might have been the United States when they had the yellow fever. But I think in the 1800s it was, like 1820. That was, it was in Asia. They had what was that? The first chlorella. What was that? Chlorella. That was it. And then that turned and morphed into a yellow fever Then the yellow fever lasted for about 3 years. Then it went to Spain during that time, but yellow fever lasted for about 3 years. But that Asia thing, what they had that was a 10-year virus. I remember that. That was that chlorella. That was what's that? The Mediterranean coast out that way in India, where the British soldiers and all that stuff was getting sick, which attracted the Europeans and all the other people out there. And chlorella was just sweeping through Asia and Europe. Man, it was like really bad. 30,000 people gone in Bangkok alone. But we was shocked that it started to spread out to Syria and Baghdad and some in Japan, Persian Gulf. It was just spreading. Now, the total deaths, nobody really know, but it's over 30,000. I think it came to what's that, the Ganges River or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But that was the massive plague at that time. Uh, then I think it went right back to Europe again in the 1920s. The 1920s. That was the Spanish flu, influenza, Spanish flu. So Spanish flu came in and started kicking everybody in the butt. Spanish flu had been around for a while, but it just like came back with new problems in the 20th century. It said, "Hey, I'm back," and now it's a whole new string of it. It's called influenza, and we finna go to work, baby. And that led to typhus. But man, it was just worldwide. When it transformed from a Spanish flu to a with the new strand that they call influenza, over 100,000 people died. So 1920s, there you go. Oh man, that flu, that strand, influenza, man, that is a terrible version of the flu. That's where the flu comes from, for those who didn't know. But when you say influenza, that's like the first strand of the flu virus. The fever, sore throat, muscle pain, joint pain, headaches, coughing, feeling tired, mixed in with stomach flus and 24-hour flus, sinus infections, bacterial pneumonia, asthma, heart failure. That's what it leads to. And back in the 1920s, led to death. Now, in the 2000 and 21st century that we're in, You know, the century that the majority of you here will perish in. We have the coronavirus. So far, the count of the deaths are being exaggerated. No one really knows for sure. It's over 300 people and counting. It's a worldwide outbreak. And we really don't know the gist of everything just yet. But isn't that crazy? Like every 100 years, there's a major outbreak. Mm. Yep. Well, anyway, I'm out. Thanks for listening to me. Don't forget to hit the Cash App up. Donate to the page. Carcino's the name on the Cash App. And I'm out.